Alright, since the last video was on food, I figured we should switch from food to food for thought. So now it's time for languages. So it's not really food for thought, but I needed an intro. So I have a few languages here. They're probably not all spelled correctly, but yeah, we got English, Latin, French, Spanish, German, Tunisian, Arabic, Japanese, Indonesian, Chinese, and Portuguese. Why? Well, because again, I needed more stuff. We gotta fill in the space. That's actually what happens sometimes. It's like, I need to keep doing this. What do I do? I need to write something. I need to add something. Because, yeah, this looks pretty empty. So people might panic at first, and the work won't be that good. And that's okay. But why did I list these? So in languages section, I figured because I speak English, I should put English there. But obviously, this is going to be more of a foreign languages category. English will probably get split off into something called writing or literature, or I don't know. It maybe just won't exist because it's not really something most people decide that they're going to spend all their time on if they already speak English. Like if you already speak English, why are you? It's just not really worth it. Latin was listed because I listed all the languages I could remember in the course of like 5 minutes that I have practiced at some point, and in middle school I had Latin class. 3 Latin teachers. There was a joke that it was kind of like the Defense Against the Dark Arts class. No, I didn't really say that properly, but yeah, back then Harry Potter was pretty big and people kept making jokes about stuff. Anyways, I had 3 Latin teachers for 3 years of middle school. I did not do very well. The funny thing is, one of the Latin teachers actually became a Latin YouTuber, so maybe he'll see this and be like, you should continue practicing Latin. French is listed after that because, well, other than English, it's the language I feel the most comfortable in. I'm not really good at it. My pronunciation got really good back in like 2013, but since then, it's definitely gotten a lot worse. Part of the problem was I got a really good French accent. After, like, okay, first I was terrible at French, and then I was terrible at French, and then I was terrible at French, and I ended up getting an opportunity to go to a place where everybody was speaking French for 2 weeks, and then when I came back, I was like, I can almost pass this class, but it was still very difficult for me, and I didn't do it. So the summer after that, I went back, and I was there for a month, and I picked up a pretty solid Northern French accent. The only problem is when I went back to school, my French teacher was German. Yeah, we were in America, she was from Germany and teaching French. I was like, okay. So I switched over to German because I was like, if we're learning German, might as well learn German. The German teacher had just taken French class. I was like, alright, my accent's gone. Time for Spanish. Spanish and German might have been flipped there, but it was still like, for real. I just figured if I wasn't going to get fluent in one language, it'd be pretty good to learn the basics in a bunch of different ones. So, yeah, I might make every single one of these its own section, hypothetically speaking. I don't actually know what I'm going to do with this because this is really more so a test. Not a test, but it's an example to show everybody, like, look, you can just write stuff down and eventually you're going to make something cool. Because the thing is, I'm not really making something new. I'm just taking something that's already in my head and I'm just writing it down. And eventually, if you move stuff around enough, it'll just pop up. Like, that sounds fake, but it'll happen, which is really strange. So French is listed. Spanish is here. Yeah, so as an American, probably be good to learn, like, hola, ¿cómo estás? Should probably know at least a little bit. But probably also Mexican Spanish or Puerto Rican Spanish, or, you know, whatever Spanish is mostly spoken where you live. I live in the Northeast, so Mexican Spanish isn't really everywhere, but if somebody lives in California or Texas, or, you know, one of the other Southwest states where, you know, there are a lot of people who speak Spanish, it's probably pretty good to learn the basics. German is listed. I tried learning German at one point. It was pretty funny. I made a long dictionary. Not a long dictionary, but for me at the time it was quite long because I really struggled to write. Like this? I don't know if I would have thought I would have been able to do this. Not really sure. Yeah, it was like 26 pages. No, that's just a completely random number. I think it was closer to 13. Sorry. It's feeling a little pain in my head. Probably just need to drink more water, sit down. But we're going to finish the video. And even though the video is me just holding this and looking down, being like, oh, blah, blah, blah. We've got Tunisian Arabic mentioned. Because the thing is, whenever I try to speak a language other than English, it always comes out sounding a little bit French. So, for example, with German, I might say something to a friend like, "Wie viel kommst du rüber?" And that is not German. That does not sound like German at all. I can't do it. I'm not sure if that's a mental block or if my brain has just decided everything not English is French, or what the problem is. But because of that, when I was trying to learn some Arabic, it was like, all right, if I'm going to sound French when I'm speaking Arabic, I should probably learn a Maghrebi Arabic of some kind. So, you know, we've got Tunisian, Algerian, Moroccan, and I guess you could count Libya or something else, but not really. And the first people I met were Tunisian, so I learned a little bit of that, but it has been a while. It was back in like 2019, so, you know, I can still be like, you know, Aslema, Bislema, you know, like say a few words. Those are very simple though. Yeah. But if you guys are here, you know, hey, Shabab, leave the comments down below. That might be kind of funny. We've got Japanese listed. I am not learning Japanese by choice. So the thing is, if you hang out with people who learn languages, there's always at least one person learning Japanese. And they're like, well, you know, I watched anime, so I should probably learn Japanese. And I mean, that's as good a reason as any. You know, if you like it and you're doing it, that's cool. All I really know is, you know, Nihongo ga hanasemasen, which is, unless I said the wrong sentence, I don't know how to speak Japanese. But I haven't said that to anyone in a while, so the pronunciation is probably a little bit weird. With Indonesian, you know, I can mess around a little bit the same way. You know, nope. It's probably the worst I've done it in all year, actually. Saya tidak bisa berbicara bahasa Indonesia. I haven't been talking to a lot of Indonesian people recently because I've mostly been talking to people from Mexico because I haven't been focusing on North America in a long time. So, unfortunately, there's nothing I can really do with Indonesian right now. Although, if you are learning a foreign language and you don't know what to learn, I would actually recommend Indonesian because it's got one of the largest populations. I mean, I said that in terms of Indonesian, but also Indonesia. It's fairly similar to Malaysian. It's, as far as I can tell, fairly easy to pick up. Feels a little bit like Spanish, which is weird because it isn't at all, as far as I know. But the really fun part about it is basically no Americans speak it, so if you learn how to speak it, you're actually gonna like be way higher than the average person. Whereas if you learn Spanish, it's like, yeah, okay, so like 100 million people are learning Spanish in the US. Why do we care? I don't actually know what the number is, but I assume it's more than 10 million people. Might be 100 million, that's probably a stretch. But the point is, if you're learning Indonesian, there are probably only like 1 million at most Americans learning Indonesian, and I really don't think it's above 100,000. It might be, but if you want to just like seem like you're on a totally different level, that's probably really easy. And they get really excited. If you say like one sentence in Indonesian, they're like, oh my god, great. Whereas, like, if you're learning French, you could say an essay, and they're like, I mean, it's okay, you know. Then the last two listed are Chinese and Portuguese. So for Chinese, I have Mandarin listed. When I was little, I was sent to Chinese class for some reason. I have no idea why. You know, some of the people I went to school with were from Hong Kong, but that would mean they'd probably be speaking Cantonese. So, like, I don't know why I was in a class for Mandarin. I don't know. Maybe it was the only language class that was there. But it was a little awkward because I was in, like, 2nd or 3rd grade and everybody else was in kindergarten or preschool. So, you know, there were all these tiny little Asian kids and this fairly tall white kid that didn't know how to speak anything. He wasn't there. He wasn't related to anyone. He didn't go to school with them. Like, it didn't make sense. Like, it just didn't make any sense. It was really uncomfortable. And I'm so glad I don't have to do that again. I really don't know why I was there. Yeah. We've got Brazilian Portuguese as the last one listed. Yeah, I cannot speak Portuguese at all. I can't figure it out. Part of the problem is I just don't care. And I'm not saying people shouldn't learn it. It's probably one of the 4 most important languages to learn if somebody lives in the Americas. You know, you got English because it's kind of the global language, and there's the US and Canada, and a few other small places like Jamaica. I used to think Jamaica speaks English. It's probably a Creole of some sort, but definitely English. Probably more British influence than American. I'm not really sure. Part of the problem is people learn British English in school in a lot of countries, and then they learn American English from the internet. So, I don't know. Could be both. Could be a mix. Could be something entirely different. Obviously, it's not Haiti. You know, Haiti is French. And Cuba is Spanish, and all the other stuff. I don't really know what point I was trying to make. Right, it's one of the 4 major languages of the Americas. So you've got English for the world, Spanish for the Americas, Portuguese for Brazil, and then French for a bunch of other little places. I know there's Dutch, and there are a bunch of indigenous languages too, and it's kind of weird that I don't have any listed here. It's kind of like, why are you learning the languages of empires? Technically, Tunisian Arabic is listed here. Not really an empire. If you go back far enough in history, you can... I guess you could make some argument at some point, but no. At least not any time within the last 100 years. Uh-oh, looks like somebody's messaging me. And I need to respond to that person, so I'm going to leave here. Alright. Hope this wasn't too long. Just remember, I am releasing these way after I make them, so I don't actually know what the comments are looking like. As far as I know, I still have 13 subscribers, and that's probably going to go up. But I am on video number like 8 or something in terms of what's actually released, so who knows? It could be that it actually goes down to 3. But anyways, thanks for your time, and probably make something that makes more sense than this, but you just gotta jot your stuff down. Alright, bye.